Okay, so today we're going to do our study guide for week 16. And problem number 1 and 2, those are review questions from last week. And number 1 asks, what is the sum of the measures of a 36 gon? And that is your n minus 2 times 180 formula. So we take 36 minus 2 times 180. So 34 times 180, 6120. Problem number 2, what is the measure of one angle in a regular 25 gon? All right, so the first question was sum. Number 2 is just one of them. So we take the n minus 2, multiply it by 180, and then we divide it by n. And that'll give us one angle measure. So 23 times 180 divided by 25, 165.6. Problem number 3, find the values of the variables in the parallelogram. The diagram is not to scale. Okay, so in a parallelogram, opposite angles are congruent. So right off the bat, Z is equal to 102. Now, since these opposite angles are congruent, this diagonal here splits the parallelogram into two congruent triangles. So since these two triangles are congruent to each other, this 29-degree angle is congruent to this angle. They're alternate interior angles. So angle X is equal to 29 degrees. Now, in this top triangle here, angle Y is going to be congruent to, well, you don't need this angle up here. Angle Y is the third angle in this triangle. So if we take Y plus 29 plus 102, those three angles have to sum 180. So we get Y plus 131 equals 180. Subtract 131 from each side. And our Y is equal to 49 degrees. All right, so there's the values of the variables in the parallelogram. X is 29, Y is 49, and Z is 102. In problem number 4, parallelogram. In the parallelogram, the measure of angle KLO. So if we start at K, go to L, and then to O, we're looking at this angle right here. It's 69 degrees. The measure of angle MLO is 47. So we start at M, we go to L, and then up to O. So this angle is 47 degrees. Find the measure of angle KJM. So we need KJM K to J to M is this big angle right here. Well, this KJM and this entire angle down here in the bottom, those are opposite angles. They just look different because there's a diagonal going through them. But the measure of angle KJM is equal to the 47 plus 69. And 47 plus 69, 116 degrees. The big opposite angles are congruent to each other in a parallelogram. Problem number 5 in the parallelogram, the measure of QRP. Q down to R and then up to P is this angle here, 46. The measure of angle PRS, starting at P, down to R, over to S. That's right here, it's 50 degrees. Find the measure of angle PQR. So angle PQR starts at P, goes over to Q, and then down to R. So that's the angle that we need, the whole blue angle. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is find the measure of this angle down here. And that angle is equal to, this angle SRQ is equal to 50 plus 46. So the 50 plus the 46 is 96 degrees. So this whole angle is 96 degrees. Now, the angle that we just found the measure of and the angle that we need are consecutive angles. If we're going around this parallelogram, either clockwise or counterclockwise, when we're at point Q and we go clockwise, the next vertex we hit is point R. That makes them consecutive. Consecutive angles are supplementary. So the measure of angle PQR plus 96 is equal to 180. So subtract 96 from each side. And we get the measure of angle PQR that's equal to 180 minus 96. 84 degrees. Problem number 6. ABCD is a parallelogram. If the measure of angle CDA is 66, CDA 66, then the measure of angle BCD. All right, so here's B to C over to D. You see these two angles again? They're consecutive angles. So we say the measure of angle BCD plus 66 is equal to 180. Consecutive angles are supplementary. So the measure, we subtract 66 from each side. And the measure of angle BCD is equal to 114. Problem number 7. For the parallelogram, the measure of angle 2 is 5x minus 28. So angle 2 right here, 5x minus 28. The measure of angle 4 is 3x minus 10. So angle 4 here is 3x minus 10. Find the measure of angle 3. So we need this angle up here. Before we can find the measure of angle 3, we need to find the measure of angles 2 and 4. And before we do that, we need to solve for x. So these angles are opposite of each other, and they're congruent. So we take 5x minus 28, set it equal to 3x minus 10. Subtract 3x from each side. So 2x minus 28 is equal to negative 10. Add 28 to each side. Two x is equal to 18. Divide each side by 2. So our x is equal to 9. If our x is equal to 9, we're going to find the measure of angle 2. All right? So angle 2 is going to be equal to 5 times 9 minus 28. And 5 times 9 is 45 minus 28 is 17 degrees. So angle 2 here is 17 degrees. But we need angle 3. And once again, angle 2 and angle 3 are consecutive angles. So they sum 180. So we're going to say the measure of angle 3 plus 17 equals 180. Subtract 17 from each side. And the measure of angle 3 is equal to 163 degrees. In problem number 8, ABCD is a parallelogram if the measure of angle DAB is 115. So DAB is 115. Then the measure of angle BCD, starting at B, go down to C, and over to D. This angle right here is equal to, they're opposite angles, right? Opposite angles in a parallelogram are congruent, so the measure of BCD is equal to 115. In problem number 9, you're asked to find AM. A to M is right here. If P to N is 10, so from P to N, that's 10, and A to O is 5. So A to O is equal to 5. Well, we said yesterday that diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. So if A is the middle or midpoint of both diagonals, then MA is congruent to AO. And PA is congruent to AN. So we need A to M. A to M is equal to 5. Diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. And problem number 10. LMNO is a parallelogram. If NM is x plus 15 and OL is 3x plus 5, find the value of x, NM, and OL. All right, so opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. So this left side is congruent to the right side. Top is congruent to the bottom. So we're going to solve for x. 3x plus 5 is equal to x plus 15. Subtract x from each side. So 2x plus 5 is equal to 15. Subtract 5 from each side. Two x is equal to 10. And then divide by 2. So our x is equal to 5. There's your first answer. You need NM next. So NM is equal to 5 plus 15, which is 20. OL is equal to 3 times 5 plus 5, which is 15 plus 5, which is 20. All right, so there's your 3. There's your X, your NM, and your OL. All right, any questions from that study guide? All right, and then you've got the rest of the period to get your electronic assignments submitted and work in the ALEKS app. Quiz will be tomorrow, and you'll have Friday time to work in the ALEKS app as well.